Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin and Linney here. I officially found the real Dos Equis man, the most interesting man that exists on the planet. At this point, I don't even know what you do really, because you do so many things. So I just let it go. True story. I interviewed you. I remember I have been driving all day. I interviewed you in Charleston in an Airbnb in like an 1800-year-old home.
Yeah.
And then we went and rode bikes down by the river afterwards. Like, not with you, but like I remember that day. Like, it was you know what's interesting? Before we get started on you, I'm going to be a little selfish.
Do it.
I would say you and like 3 other people have seen me from like episode 1. This will probably be like episode like 470, something like that.
Holy cow, man. I actually saw you before episode 1. I actually saw you when it was just an idea, sitting around having coffee.
Yeah,
you were
and you gave me a lot of shit. Like, I still remember this to this day. You sent me a DM. You don't remember this. It was like episode 12, and you were like, "Hey, asshole." Dude, this is exactly what you said. "Hey, asshole, it's supposed to be about the guest, not you."
I think all I said was ask more questions.
I don't know. I internalized it. But what I'm saying is, then you messaged me like a couple months ago, along with my father, and you said, "Man," like, he listened to some early episodes too. He's like, "Man, you have elevated as a host," and like, I really 100%. Appreciated that.
Yeah, man. I have loved watching your trajectory. So yeah, early on, just like every podcast host, you're trying to figure out what it's all about. And you're telling your story, which you did phenomenally. But then it was like, all right, man, we got your story. I want to hear how you get the best out of these guests and like make them really question their experiences and give you all the intel. So
yeah,
you've done so well, man. And I love the podcast, and I love listening when I'm on walks, and I'm just like listening to these mind-blowing people that have accomplished so much from so many different walks of life. It's been so cool to watch you grow. And
right before this, I just interviewed Diego Corzo again, and when I interviewed him first, he had like 18 properties. Now he has 67. And it's like, it's just so wild. It's like a documentation.
Didn't he just give a speech in front of the White House or something?
Yes, I know. It's so ridiculous. Like, I told him, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I was dead serious when I said this. When I met him for the first time, he taught me what to classify a good human as. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, when I met him, like, the standard that just so everybody's clear, when you meet me, the standard of how you should operate as a human is Diego Corzo. So if you want to know how to operate. God. Yeah, which is hot.
That guy is so genuine. Like, and this is what I like about the people that are in your sphere, Austin. When you recommend somebody to me to go talk to, and I'm like, Austin, who do you know in Phoenix who's doing Airbnb or multi? You're like, send me the best, not just a guy who's good, but you send me like the best humans on the planet. And I think it's a reflection of like how you built this sphere around you. So
we traveled around last year, and we're staying at people's houses and all sorts of stuff. And Cassie just looks over at me one day and she's like, "Who are these people and where do you find these humans?" She's like, "It's so ridiculous." I'm like, well, you just put it out. But what I want to talk about is, so you're a top agent, you residential, now you're moving into commercial, but you own businesses now, you're flipping, you got Airbnbs, you got everything, right? But here's the question I have. What is firing you up right now? What are you excited about?
Man, so obviously it's a little bit of a loaded question, because you know what I'm excited about, but the last, I would say, year.
Well, no. Okay. I got a better question to keep it more focused. What is your mindset excited about more in business than it was a year ago? Like, what's the new thing? What's the new path that you're walking?
So I love challenges. So every time something gets, something becomes like a base level understanding for me, I'm looking for whatever is next that's gonna like push me to the next limit. And for me right now, what's been coming into my path, there's a lot of ways to look at it. So whatever comes your way, whatever excites you, I tend to move towards that. I'm kind of like a mosquito looking at, or I'm moving towards the fly trap. Right now, what's gotten me fired up, in large part to you, but and also what's been going on in my world is the business side of things, is looking at service-based businesses, is looking at growing businesses to scale without my direct involvement. And if you want me to back up and talk about where that started?
Yeah, and we will, but I think what you're hitting on is the same thing that hit me, is that money's great, but now we're creating wealth, right? Money's great, but now we're creating legacy. Now I want to see somebody else succeed and give them the opportunity, right? And so, where did that start for you when you started feeling this?
Okay, so December of last year, it's been almost exactly a year, but I told, you always hear about you're the average of the 7 people you spend the most time with. And so your network is your net worth, all of that junk. But for me, it was more about like finding people I could get more knowledge from, that inspire me, that keep pushing me and driving me. People who have already been where I want to go. That's always been my path, is like follow those people. So November of last year, I was like, you know what I want to do next year? I just want to take a millionaire out to coffee or lunch every single week for the next year and just see what happens. And the moment I said that, like not even 30 minutes later, one of my really great investor friends that I met last year called me and he said, hey, my wealth advisor is having a Christmas party with his top clients. I want you to be my guest. My wife's out of town. So I was like, all right, man, whatever. I show up and I look in this room and he's going around the room. He's like, that guy just sold his company for 50 million. That guy owns the radio station. That guy owns this HVAC service company, software. He's just pointing at people going crypto investor. Like, I was in a room with 50 millionaires within 1 week of just putting that out there. And my eyes just light up when I see people who are on fire, who are moving and like, who love what they do and are passionate about their hobbies, passionate about their business. So I started talking to people, and the guy who just sold his business, his HVAC business, for, the rumor is 50 million bucks. He worked on it for 8 years, had no clue about HVAC, got into the industry because he was actually a software guy, learned Google AdWords, created this incredible side business, which was the lead source for his HVAC company. I get that introduction and me and him just click. Like, we're talking about crypto, we're talking about how he got into the industry, what he's been doing, his exit. He had something like 80 trucks and 100 service calls a day, and crazy business that he built in a matter of 8 years. But he told me his backstory was starting out in a 1-bedroom apartment without a bed to sleep on and his couch, and just reinvesting every penny back into the business and growing it. And I was really inspired because I've been in real estate. I've been an agent for 10 years. We've sold $30 million of real estate a year, make good money. But if I'm a business owner and I'm looking at my book of business, I'm like, I don't actually have any assets. I'm the only asset in this business. And unless I go start a property management company or something that has this recurring stream of revenue that somebody would buy from me, my business really isn't worth much. And I look at agents who are doing, millions of dollars of real estate a year, and honestly, nobody would come buy their business because it's so tied to who they are, their sphere. They don't have like tangible assets, and they're too involved in the business. I was like, okay. Instantly, I walk away from that dinner and I'm like, I'm going to start a business that I'm not running, doesn't require my brand, that I can just put 4 or 5 hours into a week, that ties into the leverage that I already have, which is my sphere in real estate. And it's going to be a service-based business where we have no overhead, We have no office. We have no inventory. I only pay people when we get paid. And I was like, I can start a cleaning company. So by March, we started the cleaning company. And in the beginning, I will say, like, you put a lot more time into it than you think you will. I probably invested a good number of hours each week into getting it up and running while we're creating a playbook. But now, what is it? November, 6, 7 months later, the business has basically doubled every month for the last 6 months. I put in less and less time every single month. Now I'm probably down to like 2-4 hours a week. And the business is doing close to 10,000 a month in top line revenue. We actually had our first fully profitable month this last month. And we got very strategic on how to do it. And this for me is fun. This is like, it's like solving a puzzle. It's playing a game. And it's just putting all the pieces together. Well, the other part of it was that I wanted a business model that I could copy and paste into any market, into any place, apply to other people's businesses, and just have like this really structured, streamlined thing and ways we could add services on. So now we're adding estate sales, we're adding, junk removal company, we're adding subcontracting jobs. So that for me, in addition to the real estate I've been doing this year, has been super exciting to watch grow, kind of take on a life of its own. And next year have like a very direct idea about how we're going to scale it. So that's been my thing. That's been really exciting for me.
I was thinking about it this morning when I was walking. I only want to run races I can't win. That's my new thing, right?
Was it Simon Sinek, the never ending game? Or
well, at the end of the day, the reason why business is so intriguing to me is that it always can get bigger and it can always be tweaked. Like, I'll be honest with you, we're dealing like there's a 75 million things that I want to fix in the business we're buying. But really, what's the 3 big things that matter in the first 6 months? Like, you have to get super granular, and that's when it takes tough. You have to make real decisions. And you know what? So what's the biggest thing that you learned about this business as you started it and grew it? What's the easiest thing? What's easier than you thought before you started?
Well, I would say for me, it's keeping myself out of the details and some of the nitty gritty has actually allowed me to see the business from a 30,000 foot view. And then I go look at the numbers and talk to the people in the business and just say, like, what are the easiest jobs? When I started, I thought we would be working directly with real estate agents doing make readies or doing, something along those lines. But what we found was that just adding one key lead source, like a property management company, was actually way easier than going out and getting, like, that one property management company has 500 turnovers a year versus going one by one to all these listing agents and then dealing with clients who tend to not appreciate as much as like a business to business kind of relationship. So I was like, I can add 5 high priority clients versus 500 and have, recurring streams of revenue, which is what we went and did. And so I have really enjoyed looking at the business as a whole and then deciding, like, this is the only thing we need to focus on. The other stuff will come. Like, I just push and drive the top line revenue. Somebody else can handle kind of all the nitty gritty. And I think for me, that's been really fun. And then now, I'm thinking about, like, how do we turn this into something that's super structured so that I can go buy another cleaning company that already has a book of business and just acquire their employees, their assets, their cars, whatever, and use the revenue I have in my business to take these over in other markets, franchise my company, and scale using our model. So it's like, it's playing chess on in these cities and from a business perspective. So that's been super fun, is to look at it from a much higher level than I probably have been even in my own real estate business.
Yeah, in the same context of business, the same context as hiring, my thing that I live off of is hire 1 to hire 10.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
what's the like the CEO we're bringing in? Like, I'll be as open and frank as I can. There's no chance that we can actually. I have no idea why he's coming to me. I'll be honest with you. Like, the fact that he has a platform where he can walk into a $50 million company as a CEO probably in the next 4 years. But what he's not happy about, we have a personal relationship. He grew up with my partner's boyfriend since they were in high school. But what he's not happy with is he works 100% on commission, and every year his commission's gone down because they refuse to see trends in the market. And so his concern is yeah, I might take over in 5 years, but if they don't pay attention, this $50 million company is going to go to zero. And so he's more excited about the innovation and what we're seeing. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to steal him. He's going to come over, and then in 3 years, we're going to go buy the company he left.
Yeah.
And then he's still going to be CEO.
No, I mean, I think giving people autonomy is really huge too. I think like it's probably one of the biggest things in leadership is the difference between leadership and management, right? Is like if you're just managing and you're just telling everybody what to do, nobody's going to enjoy that. Like, no matter what level employee you are, you don't like that. But if they come to you and ask you like, hey, what do you think we should be doing? Which it sounds like is not what he's getting fulfilled in right now, is like, look, I'm on the front lines. I see every single day what we could be doing, and you guys aren't listening to me because you're chairman and you show up once a month to decide the fate of the company without like, you know, really understanding all of the problems. So I think giving people like that autonomy to come in and use their skills is what gives people a lot of
I told him, I said, if I have to micromanage you, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as simple as that. This is not like, hey, it's a different situation when we're talking about managers at boots on the ground. This is a national CEO. This is a big freaking job. Like, and I was like, dude, it's like the mafia, bro. I was like, when you join my family, like I broke bread with your daughter and your wife before I left Pittsburgh. Like, we get into bed. This ain't no like hanging around for a year and then leaving. Like, I expect you to be here till we sell this bad boy, and I'm gonna make you extremely rich. But I need you to show up. And you know what's crazy, right? True story. 3-hour interview with them, right? Second time we met. And the whole time I'm sitting there because I'm a coach always. And you know what I clocked at the last minute, the last 10 minutes? He wasn't nervous about execution. He's never been the real boss before. He was nervous about succeeding. He has all the tools necessary. And so when I clocked that, you could see his face light up when I told him I was going to give him support for that kind of leadership and growth. And that's really what was holding him back and making nothing to do with money.
Yeah, I think a lot of times it's in terms of money versus like job satisfaction. Like, we've all kind of been there. You make a lot of money doing what you do, and you're like, oh, that didn't make me happy. What actually makes me happy is training, seeing other people succeed, like giving people knowledge and creating jobs is really exciting for me. Like, we've pulled over a lot of like in our business in particular, there's a lot of kind of unprofessional things about the cleaning companies, right? Nobody's really happy with their cleaner. They show up late. There's nobody to hold accountable because it's just a one-off. What I've found is that by holding people accountable, you actually give them more freedom. You make them more satisfied, not just your clients, but also your employees. And so I think you're absolutely right. And I think it works from the top all the way to the bottom of any company.
Dude, they think I'm crazy already at the new company because I spoke to the team for the first time on Thursday. I said, I'm going to pay you more and you're going to work less. And they're like, what? They're like, what does that even mean? And I'm like, well, if you work too much and you're overworked and you're stressed, you're going to hurt yourself. And then I lose you for 2 months and it don't mean anything. Like, we have to rethink the way that business is done. It's not all about numbers and profit, right? So as you build up that company and you see what's possible, is this, you and I play golf together probably once every other month. All we talk about is business and buying businesses and everything. Is this what has intrigued you in this space and kind of thinking about mergers and acquisitions and private equity and kind of stuff like that?
Well, absolutely. Yeah. So there's a couple factors, right? So first of all, it interests me from an intellectual perspective. It pulls me from a leadership perspective. But also when I think about the economics of what's going on right now in the world, where things are headed over the next year or two, they're saying we're going into a recession. I think we're already in a recession, and I think that trend will probably stick around for another couple of years. And I have found from working in real estate that cash flow is getting harder and harder to come by. Um, but these businesses have a ton of cash flow, which is a lot of leverage. And so it makes sense for me to look at businesses just the same way we look at syndicating multifamily apartments or look at Airbnb or whatever. The numbers make sense when the cash flow is there.
Mhm.
It's just a bigger puzzle. It's like in multifamily, it's super intrinsic. You understand, like, oh, we can add laundry machine, we can add covered parking, we can add these like little check these boxes and it adds value. Well, in business, there's a there's a lot more of those checklists that you get to go through. Um, and employee satisfaction is part of it, client satisfaction, online reputation, like and then the nitty gritty of the business. Are there inefficiencies that we need to work out? And being able to be on that as a business owner and moving into business brokerage is really exciting for me.
Mhm.
And so it's just, again, pulling me in that natural direction. Not that I'm not going to keep investing in real estate, but at this point in my career, it's like that stuff makes sense.
Well,
Um,
well,
get the business
I
and
switched my
buy the
thinking.
real estate.
I switched my thinking 100%. And people are gonna get upset with me, but I'm sorry. It is what it is now.
Hmm.
Real estate is a place to park capital, not to hit a home run.
Yeah, yeah.
I changed my whole view. I thought it was my way out. I thought it was gonna keep me satisfied, but unfortunately, it doesn't intrigue me. The complexity of it's not enough for me.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think if you do it long enough, like it just becomes, second nature. And there's not as many problems to solve anymore. You get the playbook and you go. So this is kind of a natural next step. I also think, yeah, of course, we make the money from the businesses we create and we grow, we can expand and franchise, do whatever. That cash flow comes back and you just put it back into real estate, which is an investment vehicle you really understand.
Mhm.
I still prefer real estate investments to even the stock market or anything else, mutual funds, life insurance. I think real estate is still my favorite investment. But where we're going to go make money is by building businesses that can grow. And then the other part of it too that makes sense to me is the leverage side. Listening to books like that you recommended, like Build to Sell and Buy Then Build. Those things have really opened my eyes to um, the kind of leverage you can get to acquire businesses versus what you can get to buy real estate. So you actually need a lot less capital to buy more cash flow, which is what you're doing with a business that you know how to run. Let's just put a little bit of capital in, get a loan, and the business takes care of itself. It's a performing asset. Way more, most of the time, if you're buying right, the performance is 10x better than any
I mean,
multifamily you could
dude,
buy.
the one we're buying, you could buy at 2.5 million. What's we're buying it at? You'd only need to bring 250 grand to the table, and it's cash flowing 900 grand a year.
Yeah, try finding a multifamily deal like that. It
And,
doesn't
and
exist. It doesn't
by the way, the
exist.
profit margins are 18%, and our CEO thinks he can get it to 35%.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you should. It should be there. Um, yeah, I think it's
I
just
think
like
what you and I
so many
seek,
things make
I think what
sense.
you and I seek is two things. I think we seek our hand on the lever, but we also seek that quintessential, like, this matters, because if I
Mhm.
create more money in the company, then I can create more jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the bigger picture. So I had the idea that I was talking about with buying businesses back in December. And then what was it, like a month later, you came to me and you were like, hey, we've got this idea to buy these businesses and create this whole educational structure for the business, the
Yeah.
partners in the business and their kids and their families. Like, we want to create a school. And of course, you always have like this insane Disney World type vision for what you want to do. And I love that. And the rest of us are like, okay, Austin, this is where we start. And you're like, no, we're going
Dude, we had a problem the other day. So we have a guy that's financial modeling out everything for us, and he floated this idea in there, and everybody in the call, Tim, my partners go, Austin, shut your ears right now, because he said he wanted to buy an entire town with an airstrip. And I do. They were like, Austin. They're like, you can't talk about the town until after we buy 10 businesses. I was like, deal.
Dude, I love that.
No, but and great. And so, life is funny, guys. I'm gonna tell you, him and I are gonna tell you this story in real time, just so we're clear. We have nothing worked out and we haven't figured out any out of it. So please don't hold us to anything. But I merely say, hey, Tim, do you want to help me with the mergers and acquisition part? And you go, yeah. And so all you did was mention it to your boss at Keller Williams. And now we're in this possible educational thing. And so, I say that to say your story about wanting to meet 50 millionaires, it sounds like every time you put something in the universe, it shows up for you.
Well, let me back up a little bit, because I think it's important to see some context. 2021 was a huge year for us, for me, for real estate, for fine tuning my business on that side. And 2022, the start of this year, I was already kind of bored with it, right? I was like, I'm going to go syndicate. I'm going to go build a business. I'm going to do all these other things. But what happened was, by focusing so intently on that, I kind of started to back away from the things that I know how to do really well, which is educate people, train, be kind of immersed in our larger corporation, which is why I love KW. It's huge. There's 200,000 agents, but it's also a very small place where if you have an idea that you want to scale, you can. So about 4 weeks ago, I was asked to give a talk about creative finance. So I love creative finance. I love alternative finance methods. So I did an hour-long presentation on creative finance. It was for the entire nation, and we had a really good response. Well, the leader of KW Commercial got a hold of the video. She calls me. She's like, hey, you're really good at this. Can you do more? I was like, yeah. I have a tendency to just say yes when people ask me to do things. I'm just like, sure. You want me to train? I'll train. She's like, no. Do you want to become a coach? And I was like, yeah, sure. Why not? I'll become a coach. So I'm getting signed up to be coaching. She's like, well, for the start of next year, what do you want to teach? And I was like, well, I see a really big need for business brokerage. I don't think anybody in our company is doing it. And I personally have some business brokerage deals lined up, and I've been studying it. And she's like, do you want to be PDL, or do you want, if we create this position where people can come to you for this, do you want to do that? And I was like, absolutely. So we're in the application process for that, starting up a new division that will focus on business brokerage while simultaneously working with you guys on the consulting side. And the two things just happened to match up so magically. It was almost like I wasn't even thinking about it, and we started having this conversation. What you and I have been working on for 6 months just comes together with, somebody with the company that I'm already at, and it just married up so well. So that's the vision for 2023, is that we'll be able to help businesses, coach them, consult them, and get them ready for sale simultaneously. And that's y'all's role. And then we put them out for sale, or we acquire them. So that's what has been phenomenal to watch. Just putting something out into the universe just partners up and just gets together and makes magic happen. It feels like it's out of your control in some way. You just show up and these things happen.
Well, so, and I think they show up because you're serving somebody else, not serving yourself.
Yeah. I had not thought about that, but that is the main reason that I loved that feeling of being like, oh, if I just put it out there that I know these things, people, and then you realize how much people need that. Then you realize that there's actually like a demand for something, or there's a way to fit what you already know into somebody else's business plan or somebody else's model. And that collaboration is like just magical to me.
Mm-hmm. Guys, it's not the same context, but something important. He was talking about reviews for like service-based businesses, and he was saying somebody went in and they pointed about what their trepidations were of hiring the company, and then they said, "Oh my God, they over delivered." And what the CEO called that guy, he said, "Look, like I want you to understand that we got like 200 jobs because of your review, because you said in the beginning exactly what was holding you back from hiring us, and then we fixed it." And what he was saying is the context of that thought that everybody else had was different than just saying, "Oh, they did a great job." Like they brought the solution out. And so as you as a person, if you could say, "This is the way I feel, does anybody else feel this way?" Then that's the problem you fix. It changes the whole argument.
Well, here's the thing about what you just said too, though, is it's also the mindset of the person receiving the criticism, right? Like when you see a business that people have criticized and the owner is on there replying to everyone like, "Screw you, never come back here. We don't want your business. We don't want your money." Instead of saying like, "Man, that is something we could do better. If we did this better, we would get more business." It's the growth mindset and the growth mentality versus the ego. And this, I'm gonna stay small and everything has to be my way or it's not gonna get done. So I think that's very important.
I ask myself all the time, who's buying this deal, my ego or the facts? I mean, it's the truth, right? Because like there's a company that we're trying to like acquire right now, and they got a couple different buyers. I talked to the owner himself on Thursday. It's now Monday. I'm still waiting for the business broker to reach out to me. But yet but the owner is the son of the guy who started the company, does about $9 million a year. He already has all the buyers to the table. Why did you hire the business broker? It's been 4 days. They haven't reached out to me. And so you wonder why I want to get into this space, because people don't know how to do their damn job and support the owners.
Yeah. There's it's really interesting coming from like the residential real estate side, which I've been in for 10 years, where it's almost mandatory. We're always on the phone. It's mandatory that we respond to text messages and emails within 37 seconds or deals are going to fall apart. And so like that sense of urgency has followed me into the commercial space, where I'm the one that's like barking up the other brokers, but like, dude, where is the LOI? Where is this? Let's go. And they don't like that. They want their weekends, their nights and weekends. It's a 9 to 5 job. And I just don't see it that way. Like I'm so passionate about getting deals done and so passionate about doing the best.
I lost a deal because I put an LOI in too soon. He won't respond to me.
You look desperate.
No, I just don't move at his speed, which is like take a month to decide whether or not you want to buy this business. I'm like, no, dude, this is a great business. I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And so like understanding that and kind of maneuvering, right? So now I'm just going to drive up to the owner's place and be like, your business broker just cost you, $4 million deal. Like that's how ruthless I am. Like I'm not going to be these gatekeepers and their egos. I can't do it, man.
Well, I mean, the whole world is moving faster than it ever has. And I mean, there's a reason for that. It's not that hard to text, call, email. Like it's also not that hard to run analysis, like at least preliminary analysis on a lot of these things is much easier than it used to be. And I know you, Austin, you move fast, man. We were playing golf and it was like the first 9 took 2 hours and 5 minutes and you're like, too slow, we're out. So
so as you gear up for next year and you get fired up, what's going to be your big focus for next year?
So for me, I also have some other projects going on, obviously, like I always do. But for me, it's scaling up the business that I run already, which is the real estate and the cleaning company, and then moving into my fourth business, because I have the investment company as well. But the the business brokerage side, I think, is really exciting for me. And so that's going to be a big chunk of my time. Prospecting businesses. It also plays into the commercial real estate. So I have this great synergy. My plan for next year is to get extremely focused on a daily basis. These are the only tasks I'm going to be doing. These are the only people I'm prospecting. These are the only types of businesses I want to work with, and the only type of commercial real estate I want to work with. So that's been pretty big for me. I do also want to make sure that I'm giving back again, because that was a great lesson to get in the last 2 months. So on a monthly basis, hosting the business brokerage training seminars, getting involved there. And yeah, I think that is probably enough to keep me busy. Although you never know, we always find ways to add things on top of it, but I love those things. I'm passionate about it. I think that's where it's at.
Did you have it? I know you have a list, because I know how you operate. Is there anything on your list that we didn't get to that you want to chat about?
No, I think we covered it, man. I think it's important though to look back since the last time. What has it been? 2 years?
Yeah, give or take.
And
Yeah.
I just want to give you some praise, honestly, and just look at like where we were 2 years ago. And I think what's great about you, Austin, is that you're not a person that puts an idea out there and then just lets it die. Like if it's something you're passionate about, you chase after it, and that inspires me. And I think that inspires a lot of the people that listen to this podcast, the people that you coach. So it's been awesome for me to watch ideas come to fruition. Almost like just, I don't know, almost like magic. So that's been super cool. And I'm excited about seeing where this thing goes. I think 100 million or bust. And
yeah, and I think
just
it's
fired up.
You know, like I really wish, like, God, we had like 15 meetings last week when I was in Pittsburgh, and like everybody's asking me the same thing. Like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, dude, it's just jobs. Like, it's jobs. Like, I've had shitty bosses. I just want to support you and your family. I want to give you good health care. I want to make sure you're taken care of. I want to feed things that are outside of your current job that you're excited about. Like our vice president that's going to be running the company up there, like he's obsessed with like Airbnbs. And I'm like, great, okay, good, I could teach you that too. Like, and he's like, wait, but I'm a HVAC tech. And I was like, yeah, and you're still a grown-up that has other things outside of this. It's not a big deal, And so yeah, it's just exciting to be able to pour. I'm like, here's the truth, and I'll be as transparent as I can, and I hope I don't get emotional. Thinking, and I mean thinking and learning, the amount of years I have to buy a business and the amount of life I've lived, to walk in, by the way, I didn't even know we were going to be there, to walk into an operation for the first time and the owner look over and go, this is your new owner. I mean, surreal would be an understatement. Like, it's kind of like, oh my God, these 19 humans, they're in my hands now. Like, this is a bit like, I realize the gravity of this situation is it's
a lot of responsibility.
Not only is it 19 people that got their families, it's like, and so like, it's like, whoa, like, yeah, it's really a cool thing that you can create.
Yeah. I mean, impacting the world through small business. I don't think there's a better way, man. I think you can use this to your advantage and spread the message, spread the education, and have a lot of impact.
Remember that the pieces that we leave behind of us, they grow fruit, they grow seeds, right? And so by you're not getting on a podcast, by you're not starting that business, by you're not doing that post, by you're not doing what you needed to do, you're not allowing the growth. Right? You're not allowing other people to be infected. We don't control the message. We don't control what you hear, but we can give you the message, and then you can hear when you want to. And I think that's super important.
Absolutely.
If people want to
Seems
find
like
you, they want to follow you around. How would they do that?
Probably Instagram best way, Team Warlow. But after seeing you blow up on Twitter, I guess I got to start using that more. But Team Warlow, TeamWarlow.
No, I love it. Well, guys, if you're not following Tim, you need to be following Tim. I don't even think I said your name in the beginning of the thing. So Tim Warlow. So guys, if you like this episode, send it to a friend, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.